Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, this is going to be a different variation of my top 10 potion savers for endgame players. This version is basically going to be top 10 potion savers for complete beginners. I will make a third part of this video where we're going to talk about progressing players. But just so we are all clear here on definition, in my eyes, the end game basically starts in all of the variants, Act 6, Map 7, maybe Map 6 to a degree. Progressing players is basically Act 5, uncollected kind of level stuff there, and that's pretty much it. And completely new players is Master Mode, everything and anything, Act 4 and below kind of stuff, and probably maps 4 and below or 3 and below for progressing, and AQ maps 4, 5, 6 maybe for progressing players. Anyway, so this video for the beginners, and we're going to be taking a look at champions that are extremely basic, simple, do not require incredible in-depth knowledge about the game, and most importantly do not require on a lot of skill. These are the champions that will save you a lot of potions as you are learning to play the game, as you are beginning to progress through the game. And so we have a list of 10 champions here, but in a couple of entries I'm going to be cheating a bit. Anyway, so in spot number 10, if we're going to quickly jump to our champion section, we're going to be showcasing it all on 4 stars for most part. Spot number 10 is basically going to go to good old Iron Man, and also by extension to Superior Iron Man, and to a degree I suppose to Iron Patriot. But the base idea is quite simple. These are the champions that do have vastly extended health pools and really good regeneration ability towards the end of their lifespan basically, and they can trigger every fight. And I still remember to this day how often I used Iron Man and Superior Iron Man clearing Act 5. I used these guys for Starburst path because as I was about to finish off the fight, the Starburst damage got more insane, a regen kicked in, I finished out the fight, nearly full or close to full, went in the next fight, same thing again, lost my health to Starburst, it just regened again. And the most important thing about these champions is they're extremely simple to use, there's absolutely nothing to them, just learn the basics, hit opponent, don't get hit yourself too often, block bait opponents' heavy attacks, punish their special attacks, whatever. And yeah, you do not even need to know exactly how their abilities work, more or less. Just the fact that they get regeneration if they are awakened towards the end of the fight. Therefore, Iron Mans, in my opinion, are still fantastic options for novice players in this game to start progressing through the beginning of the story content. And as an extension, obviously, Superior Iron Man and what have you. Now, there is a tiny bit different story with Phoenix. I'm still going to rate her higher, and obviously Phoenix is also a champion that does in fact have to be duped in order to access all this extra life and regeneration. She is, however, slightly more difficult to use. Her regeneration also can be vastly more potent, and her damage output might be better. And there are more things to kind of keep in mind. But all in all, even if you don't, she's still a champion that will basically give you extended life regeneration at every single fight. But that being said, she's also a champion that's kind of encouraged you to learn and time things, learn how to play a bit better, how to make sure you do have some of these Phoenix charges when you are about to go down, or more specifically on purpose take some hits at the right time to get the maximum healing. That's going to teach you players the basics of kind of like strategy of how to time your effects and how to get maximum benefit for them. The main reason, however, why she does in fact stand above Iron Man is the simple fact that it's a cheat death mechanic. Iron Man's, however, can still be one-shotted if you eat a strong level 2 while you're low on health. You're not going to stop at 0%, like 1% health and then heal up. No, you're going to be gone and dead. With Iron Man, you kind of need to know that area, how much damage you can take, and still there is no cheat death mechanic involved. With Phoenix, however, even if you end up eating some massive hits or a big combo, you still have that a window of invulnerability, which is guaranteed to save you. Therefore, I do believe that Phoenix can be incredibly potent potion saving machine for new and beginner players. Now, next thing, when we're going to be moving on, now next champion is going to be from science class, and it's going to be Hulk. And many people might be surprised by this pick, but it's actually an extremely simple explanation, because Hulk is extremely easy champion to use. The base idea of using Hulk, especially in Act 4 and below. And for those of you who have forgotten, in Act 4 and below, content does not have Special 3 enabled. Hulk has huge chance to stun opponents on his level 1. And that basically means that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be hitting the opponent, throwing your level 1s, having them stunned, hitting them for long as the stun carries on, basically. And then, if the stun doesn't proc, or if you just run out of power, or if anything else goes wrong, they're still not going to throw the level 3. They're going to shoot out their level 2 or try and hit you, at which point you can retaliate and drop another level 1 and start it all over again. Extremely easy champion to use, takes away a lot of the kind of like issues, problems, and stress, obviously, when it comes to dealing with opponents' special attacks or trying to always find an opening, because he's going to be stunning opponents for days, and largely many or most of these opponents at beginning level content do not have their level 3 special attacks enabled, and you're going to be absolutely able to face through all the content with a simple Hulk. It doesn't even have to be duped in this case to be able to have extremely high chance to stun the opponents. And, and that's it. It's a simple game, easy life, keep them stunned, not much to worry about. And still, for further champions, we're going to remain in science class. And this might seem like an outdated pick to many, but as new players are entering the game, things like parry, things like intercept, things like power management are not as familiar of the concepts. And Captain America's do provide a fantastic alternative to it, and it's called block till your opponent gets tired, throws a heavy attack, and punish that. It's a very simple base idea of how to use these champions. Both of these champions also have a somewhat decent chance to stun on their like level 1s, and Captain America old one has also a chance to stun on his level 2, I believe. This one has bleed on level 2. And there was a time when Cap was actually a dominant force in the game and one of the best champions available due to this factor. Yes, his damage output is lacking, but when you are learning the game, when you are progressing through Act 1, 2, 3, 4, whichever, having this blocking machine when you are constantly encountering opponents with increasing PI, and perhaps your rosters and your rank up materials haven't really caught up to the content you're trying to chew off, and you're still trying to kind of learn the basics of fighting mechanics, how to parry, how to intercept, things like that, Captain America can offer a really nice kind of break and retreat from that, and you can play as simple as possible. Just block, bait their heavy attacks, and that's it. Go to town with them. After your combo, put your block back up, let the shield do the work, and do it all over again. It might not be the most interesting way to play, but it will definitely provide you with some alternative options in some fights that you would find more difficult. Therefore, I definitely think that for newer players, Captain America is definitely still worth a mention. And yeah, with that, we can move on to next champion. Next champion, again, is somebody that's extremely easy to use, has a very decent, good base damage output, and again, very effortless way of using this champion, because with Angela, essentially, again, you do not have to do anything special, anything specific. Whenever you do make any type of mistakes, those heals will kick in. They will help you recover a large portion of your health. At the same time, your damage is quite good on Angela. When you are below bar of power, you have extra armor, so you can take extra punishment. When you're above 1 or 2 bars of power, you have all of these damage increase buffs. And she also does not have to be duped. And she, in my opinion, definitely will also help out many young players who are trying to progress throughout this game and kind of like learning about champion interactions, fight basics, how to parry, how to punish special attacks, how to intercept at times. And whenever you will happen to make that mistake, those regions will be there to help you and heal up. I suppose to a degree you could put Nebula here in with her as well, but with Nebula there are a lot of additional game mechanics that you kind of would have to keep in mind. And Angela is just a straightforward, simple champion. Get more power, you're gonna change the buffs based on power bars that you have. Whenever you take damage, you're gonna get a heal buff for free, basically. And yeah, Angela is super simple champion to use, therefore I do recommend her for all the newer players in the game. And moving on to spot number 5 in this case, gonna be freshly reworked Old Man Logan. Where is that old man? There we go. So Old Man Logan has recently gotten a rework which has increased his damage output by about, I believe, 40-50%, but still that does make him a lot more viable. The more important thing is that he does have his regeneration ability active, even being unduped, and yeah, increased damage, some decent bleeds, free regen, even though it's not the most passive regen, let's face it, and now it is definitely less potent than it used to be. It still is a free regen when you are questing, even without any synergies. Obviously, if you do have Domino or Sabretooth synergies, then that does help quite a bit as well to increase his survivability. But all in all, he is definitely capable of recovering quite a bit of chip damage whilst still dishing out a decent amount of damage himself. And again, even though he's one of the newer champions that's streamlined, there's absolutely nothing difficult about using this guy. There's not much you have to remember. Only thing you need to know, level 1 armor break, level 2 big bleeds, go. That's as simple as that pretty much. And yeah, rest you can kind of pick up along the way. Very simple champion to use, decently effective, definitely good for new players. So I think that is probably his saving grace for the rework as well. And now we're gonna move on to our top 4 category. And in spot number 4 here, in this case for progressing players, I'm simply gonna place in a champion that might be more suited for intermediate and progressing players. However, Voodoo is a simple champion that does have quite a bit of heal available at the beginning of every single fight. And that's it. Even if he's unduped, obviously unduped his heal is smaller, but still it's a guaranteed regen at the beginning of every fight, even if you're not sure how to use this best champion the best, even if you don't have Mystic Dispersion, even if you don't have Dr. Voodoo duped, even if you do not know exactly how he works. The base idea is simple. Hit the opponent, spam your special attacks, enjoy the free regen at the beginning of every fight whilst progressing through the story content, and it is exactly as simple as that. Now obviously when he's duped and when you do learn much more about the game mechanics and interactions, Voodoo has extremely complex set of abilities when you know how to use him properly, because there's a lot of extremely interesting interactions. But at his base, just enter the fight, get the free regen, spam your special attacks, power drain opponents, put some poisons on them, and you're good to go. So very simple, effective sustainability there, even if you do not know the further mechanics of the champion. And yeah, so that would be spot number 4. We're gonna move on to spot number 3, and spot number 3 in this case is gonna be good old original Ultron. Well, in this case it's the Ultron from the movie Age of Ultron, but still, you know what I mean. And it is as simple as the fact that he has double immunities and a double regen. He was pretty much OG suicide sustainable champion in the game. Not that I expect any of the newer players to have suicide at this point, but again, it's nothing difficult in terms of using him. You just go in the fight, hit the opponent. If you happen to get hit when you reach 50% of your health, you will trigger a regeneration. When you reach 25% of your health, you will trigger regeneration once again. So he has double regen that's relatively far away from his death zone. So whenever you do take this chip damage throughout the fights, he can continuously keep topping himself up. He has stuns on his special attacks. Once again, that means you can just basically hit opponent for as long as they keep stunned. Don't worry about baiting out their special attacks. If they do happen to throw special 2, take it in a block, take the chip damage, get back in there, keep stunning them, keep punching at them, and eventually if they do drop you below 50%, they are going to heal you up So super simple champion to use, has the double immunities, which will be useful at some point in Act 4. I remember they already had some of those nodes. And definitely an easy to use sustainable champion that will help a lot of newer players save quite a bit of potions. And yeah, that's why I think worthy he is of spot number 3. And spot number 2 might be quite a bit of a surprise to people who are more experienced and are still watching this video for whatever reasons that they have. Probably just to disagree with my list, but hey, I love you all too. Anyways, here we go, Luke Cage. Now, Luke Cage combines several elements of what we have spoken before. So first of all, when you are aggressive and when you don't have to worry about baiting out opponent's special attacks, he is able to stack quite a bit more of those exhaustions and fatigues or whatever not on opponent. Therefore, he does get quite decent damage increase. Also, the more debuffs he has, the higher chance he has to stun on his level 1, so you can basically keep opponents stunned for days. And if that isn't enough, if your Luke Cage happen to be duped, whenever you do end up messing up royally and colossally, his signature ability will kick in, will save you from all damage, all harm, and you're going to be able to walk away from it without a scratch on yourself. So for when it comes to the very basics of fighting, especially against opponents who do not have level 3s available, hit them a lot, be aggressive, stun for days, mess up, take no damage, go back in there again. Eventually that signature ability will refresh and you can be free to mess up once again. And even so, even when you carry on to the border where opponents do have their level 3s available, such as Masters Quest for instance, your stun fails, it's not a big deal. If you have the signature ability available to you, you can still survive that level 3 and go back into with your original game plan. So again, for those of you who have not noticed, the theme of this video is basically simple, streamlined champions that are designed to mitigate damage, to regenerate health, and are super easy to use, that don't require any special combinations, that don't require you dropping heavy attacks at a certain time or dropping special attacks in special sequence. None of that stuff. For new and basically newer players, these champions are going to be as easy to use as they come and will still at the same time provide a lot of help whilst playing normally basically. And yeah, the kings of the noobs, let's call them that, the kings of the newbies, the kings of the new players. Well, it's a king and a queen really in this case, because obviously I cannot finish off this video without mentioning Wolverine and X23, because both of those are essentially the same type of champions. X23 has more damage and Wolverine has more regen, but both of them function exactly the same. You do nothing kind of differently, you just hit the opponent, they will get bleeds, that will do a decent amount of damage. As you're hitting the opponent or getting hit, you get to regen and you get to conserve your health. Both champions function exactly the same, with basically the numbers being different. The fact that X23 has better bleeds and less regen, Wolverine has less damage, less bleeds, but better regen. And yeah, it is as simple as that. Wolverine, in my opinion, is pretty much the perfect champion for any newcomer to MCOC. If you have any of your friends or family members or whoever who are starting to play this game, just tell them, as soon as you get Wolverine, take that guy up. And as you learn more about the game, this is the champion that will be saving you most revives, most potions, and will be able to teach you a lot more about the game as you're progressing through without getting frustrated, because it's going to take away all of that worries about chip damage, messed up intercepts, missed parries. It doesn't really matter. You're going to be able to regenerate all of that back fairly quickly. Still an amazing champion. Unfortunately unavailable as a 5-star, and even if he would be available as a 5-star, let's face it, he would not really measure up in the endgame content. And yeah, so these are basically the top 10 champions, or champion types you could say, that I think are still the most helpful, simple, usable for people who are starting this game on day one, who are just starting to progress through the acts, who are dealing with stuff like heroic, maybe masters, very beginnings of AQ champions that will kind of prevent you from dying and having to use all of these potions. Because let's face it, there are a lot of different champions that can do a lot of these things as well, but they do require a lot more deeper knowledge of the game. They also do require often high signature abilities and things like that. For instance, Darkhawk has a fantastic regen available to him. He requires to be high signature ability in order to be able to utilize it well. It also requires for the player to know exactly how to trigger it. The fact that you need to enter in one of your modes, and then you have to switch to another mode, and how to do that. That is a lot more in-depth knowledge about the champion. Same as, for instance, Dormammu has a fairly decent regeneration ability available to him via his level 3. However, it's buried so deep in the character description that even I don't properly remember exactly the sequence of things that I have to do in order to trigger it. I know if I could read it right now, I could do it, but if I would have to recall from top of my head how to trigger Dormammu's regen, it is just not the simplest thing to do in the terms that you need to do one thing first, then you need to drop your level 3, then you need to do something else, and so on and so forth. So the point is, these champions, super easy to use, will be useful for the beginning of the content. Many of these champions are the champions I used as I started to progress through the game, and definitely learned to appreciate these champions for what they were and what their qualities are. And now, even looking back, I still think that even compared to many of the newer champions in the game, when it comes to learning about this game and progressing throughout the story content, these are still fantastically viable options. And what's much better about them, they're also relatively, definitely easy to acquire, because statistically you're much more likely to land on a 2015 champion, even if just due to the simple fact that there are so many more of them than there are any other years. Because 2015 we have all the OG champs plus the 24 champions that they released throughout the year, and then the rest of the years basically just have the 24 plus champions that they release in a year. So here's my point basically, I suppose. And yeah, so if you are starting this game, if you are new to Marvel Concept Champions, hope this video has helped you. Do leave a comment, do let me know what you think about it. And other than that, I wish you all a fantastic day. See you guys.